Hey guys, today I want to talk about crystals. The stones I'm going to talk about today are fairly high vibrational stones and they're somewhat sympathetic toward one another. So I want to start by talking about tektites. And you may have heard of Tibetan tektites before, but tektite is actually a family of crystals. There's more than one stone in the tektite family. And essentially what tektites are, they are glassy stones that are associated with meteoric impact. So there are a few different theories about how they were created and what they actually consist of. Scientists do not have a full consensus. Some believe that it is full-on extraterrestrial material like the meteorite itself. Others believe that it is terrestrial rock that melted when the meteor impact occurred. And still others believe that it is a mixture of both terrestrial and extraterrestrial material. Essentially what happens is the meteor hits the Earth, and upon impact, material from the meteor itself and terrestrial material from the Earth are thrown into the atmosphere and eventually rain back down onto the Earth. I am not a scientist, obviously. But I am drawn to the theory that they are both terrestrial and extraterrestrial material mixed together. For me, it's an energetic thing. That's what the energy feels like. So first we're starting with these Tibetan tektites. This one is kind of a rough one. It's nice and big. It's not polished or anything at all. And I'm drawn to ones with these little thumb holes in them. I don't know why. This is my other one with my little thumb hole in it. But you'll see that they are very irregular in appearance. So Tibetan tektites are black or a blackish brown color typically. I have personally only ever seen firsthand black ones. They are found in Tibet or in southern China. And Tibetan monks have long held them to be spiritual talismans of great power. They are called Agni Mani, or fire tears. Tibetan tektites are said to activate the chakra column and dissolve any blockages within it. They're said to awaken the light body, bring us into new levels of consciousness, and accelerate our spiritual evolution. Next, I want to talk about Moldavite, another tektite. The creation of Moldavite coincides with a meteorite impact in the Czech Republic about 14.8 million years ago. Farmers often found it when plowing their fields. And most of the time it is a forest green, but it can also be very pale or even a greenish brown color. And when held into the light, it's very glassy in appearance. You can even kind of see that you can see through. It depends on the density of the piece. This one has a little heart in the middle, if you can see. I love it. But typically they're dark green, and yet they do have a glassy appearance when you're looking at them in person. I am sorry about the autofocus. Ugh. This one is a good one to see. Because it's a very thin piece. And you can see that sort of glassy nature. Moldavite is said to be a stone of massive transformation, clearing, and change on all levels. It is typically easily felt, vibrationally speaking. Anytime somebody's trying to figure out if they have a sensitivity to energy, I suggest that they seek out Moldavite. Not necessarily to buy it because it is on the expensive side, but see if you know anyone that has any, or visit a store that will let you handle it. Because people tend to have a pretty strong reaction to Moldavite. There's even this term, Moldavite flush, because oftentimes people's body temperature will rise quickly when handling the stone for the first time, and their cheeks may even flush. I personally, and I know a few people like this, but for me, Moldavite is like It's like a hug from the stars. It is like going home. It is the most comforting energy. But I know even more people who are uncomfortable with Moldavite. Many people I know like Moldavite, but they can only stand to have it like very close to their person for short periods of time. And then yet there are other people I have known who don't even want to be in the vicinity. It makes them very uncomfortable. They get jittery. They don't feel good. They're anxious around it. I, like I said, love it. I'm wearing my Moldavite ring right now, and I am always wearing at least one piece of Moldavite. So it activates the entire chakra system. It stimulates Kundalini. It activates the psychic centers, and it's said to do so very powerfully. It activates visions and dreams. It is said if you sleep with it under your pillow, and I have talked to people with this experience, that it gives them crazy, vivid, wild dreams. And I actually know a woman who always has crazy, vivid, wild dreams. And if she sleeps with Moldavite, she has normal dreams. So I don't know, but it definitely has an effect on some people when it comes to their dreaming. It connects us with guides, and it expands awareness. Moldavite has a tendency to show us limiting patterns that are self-imposed so that we can deal with them. It's a great stone for shadow work. But I will say this. Moldavite is like a roller coaster kick butt stone. If you're not ready to really do the work to evolve on a spiritual level, which means shadow work, which means releasing, it's a lot of deep, ugly, dirty work. If you're not ready to do that, don't mess with Moldavite, because it might not happen right away as soon as you start working with Moldavite. It could take years even, but eventually it's going to stop nudging you, and it's just going to push you right off the cliff, and it's not going to be pretty. So just have that in mind when you decide if you want to work with Moldavite. Next is Libyan Gold Tektite. I only have one of these. It's actually pretty smooth and glass-like when you touch it, but it isn't a regular. It's like a rough rock that's been worn down by water. It's like it's river worn. Although it isn't. It might be sand worn. It's from the desert, so. This stone was used by the ancient Egyptians in royal jewelry. I have seen many pictures of beautiful scarabs carved out of Libyan gold tektite. It's found in the Sahara Desert in Libya and Egypt. It's sometimes called Libyan desert glass. Some scientists doubt that it's actually a tektite. There's some debate on whether this is a tektite or not, but it is found in the same areas as meteorite impact, and its structure is similar to other tektites. Libyan gold tektite is said to enhance the strength of will. It enhances the ability to create. It enhances our ability to manifest. It is said to connect us to the Akashic record and enhance meditation and ritual, particularly when we are talking about meditations or rituals or spell work that is for manifestation. It teaches boundaries and right use of power. Okay, that's it for the tektites. Now let's move on to Apophyllite. This specimen is clear Apophyllite, and you can see it's lots of little crystals clustered together. This is what the bottom looks like, typically. Nice little crust. And they are often found as a mixed mineral, which just means there's more than one mineral on the specimen. This one is not mixed mineral, but some of the other ones I'll show you will be. So clear apophyllite is mostly out of India, but it can be found elsewhere in the world. And when I say it's mostly from one place, it just means that most of the specimens you're going to find on the market will be from that place. Clear apophyllite is said to aid in attunement with high frequency energies and entities. It's a wonderful meditative tool. It brings purifying energy into its environment. It's great for grid work. It facilitates visions and psychic abilities. And it helps us connect with our higher selves. So next is green apophyllite. This one, you can barely tell it's green, but you can see that it's a mixed mineral. It's got other minerals in with the apophyllite. This one has more of a green tone to it. You can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. This one is my best one though. It is also a mixed. You see all the little puffy white pieces and this big white crystal right here. But it's definitely a beautiful green specimen. Green apophyllite is actually more rare than clear apophyllite, though having said that, it's not difficult to find. Green apophyllite is said to resonate with nature and nature spirits. Meditating with it can bring attunement to and greater understanding of, as well as greater communication with nature, devic spirits, animals, and plants. And I feel fae as well, although that is not confirmed by any other outside source. This stone brings a green energy into the environment. It really does sort of bring, stones are natural, but they do have a different frequency, and some of them feel very sort of alien in nature. Green apophyllite feels very homey and down to earth, and it does have an otherworldly quality, but again, I tie that to fairy energy, so it's still very earthy in nature. It brings vitality and energetic health to the auroric field. It can balance elemental polarities. I take that to mean that if in my personality I am way out of balance when we talk about what the elements represent, what their correspondences are, what they're tied to, that if there is a huge imbalance in that, and I don't just mean on a personal level, it could be within a group of people or in a household or what have you, that this stone can help balance those polarities and bring more harmony into the space. And this stone is said to be able to help us facilitate the use of natural vortexes. Next we have Tektites. You can see the shape and structure of Tektites. They typically come in pairs like this. And there are little spiky crystals all over these two circular foundations. This one is a mixed mineral. It actually has fluorite growing on it. So it has a couple different energies going on there. Tektites can be clear, white, orange, or purple, although I have only seen it in person in orange. So that must be the most common form. So they're these little balls with the spiky crystals, and they're primarily from Mexico, which a lot of the fluorite you can buy on the market comes from Mexico too. So there must be a mine where both of them grow. So sometimes they grow together. Tektites is said to activate the higher chakras, which would be the third eye crown and above, the etheric chakras. And it is also said to clear any blockages within those chakras, facilitating expansion. Meditation with these crystals can facilitate an anchoring or an expanded awareness of the heart. They're very heart-centered stones, even though they're orange. That's another thing. We automatically assume that crystals of a certain color match a certain chakra. And generally speaking, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it may not be 100% true. And often it's not. Because energetically, they don't necessarily align with the chakra that the color corresponds to. So just keep that in mind. They are said to be a key to encoded spiritual information. Tektites helps us connect to our higher guidance, and it clears the auroric field. So that's it for crystals today, guys. Thanks for listening. I hope it's not boring. I just really adore crystals, and I could talk about them all day, every day. So I'll definitely have lots of crystal videos. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, much love and gratitude.